I believe that the Chaos Emeralds are about to be used to do something we haven't seen done since Sonic 06. Let's talk about it. If you've been paying attention to the Sonic series so far, you notice that in the more recent issues, one of the subplots is Sonic and the gang attempting to retrieve all the Chaos Emeralds spread across the world. So much so that multitudes of different members have split off into different teams in order to try to do so. The good guys and Eggman, mind you, aren't the only ones attempting to go for these emeralds. In fact, 7 of them already have been collected by this mysterious figure. That's when I'll jump to the most recent issue of this said series, where we get a little bit more information on who or what that figure could be associated with. That being Dr. Starline. Now, not too long ago, I'll put in the playlist below, I made a theory talking about how I believe Dr. Starline is going to create a brand new faction of new villains that have been showing up throughout this series to take on both Eggman and Sonic's own factions. But there's a problem with everything going on right now, and that's specifically to do with Dr. Starline himself. Last we seen of him fully healthy in his normal appearance, he got crushed by multitudes of tons of metal. So we don't really know if he truly survived this ordeal or not. You could make the assumption that this individual here is Dr. Starline, but I believe he's just a catalyst to what I believe the Chaos Emeralds are going to be used for. A minute in, if you guess that it's the resurrection to Dr. Starline, you would be correct. You remember back in Sonic 06 where Mephiles murked off Sonic and the way to bring him back from death was to use the energy of the Chaos Emerald? I believe this exact idea is going to be replicated in order to bring Starline back to life. And under the assumption of this resurrection, I believe Dr. Starline is going to have a completely different appearance change. What do I mean when it comes to a different appearance change? There's a certain thing that Dr. Starline was greatly obsessed with, very similar to Eggman. That being Sonic. Not only did he attempt to copy and replicate Sonic's powers along with Tails and Knuckles, he even attempted to make his own version of Sonic and Tails and Surge and Kit, but it doesn't stop there. Again, jumping back to the 2 most recent issues of the Sonic series, Metal Sonic was kidnapped by an individual, one so smart and intricate in technology that it could outright corrupt the data Eggman has in Metal, which is damn near impossible unless you're very linked in with EggTech. That's not the part I want to focus on. I want to focus on the notion that there is another copy of Sonic in that very cave. One more than likely who got his bio data from Metal Sonic in his best attempt to replicate Sonic the best way he can. How does this tie into Dr. Starline's new appearance? I believe through the Chaos Emeralds either putting him in a new body or him transferring his consciousness into a new body, he's going to try to make himself a closest combination or clone to Sonic that he can. Keep in mind, Dr. Starline is completely aware of all of Eggman's flaws, where he completely fails each and every time he goes up against Sonic. And he just got his own new flaws that he ended up having to build upon going against Sonic himself. All these culminations of ideas, thought processes, etc., especially the desire of wanting to be or create something like Sonic, might lead into him again being resurrected as a clone robot version of Sonic in one way or another, or at least taking treats from Sonic. Outside the possible Starline resurrection or body recuperation, just something to revitalize his destroyed, decrepit body, because we know at bare minimum his bones shattered, probably is barely moving without any extra enhancements, etc. But outside of that, what I do believe these Chaos Emeralds could also be used for could be used in the return of Infinite. If you've been listening to the Chaotix case files on YouTube, they've kind of dropped multitudes of hints that Infinite might return very, very soon. And with that notion in mind, it ties back into my faction theory that I was talking about, where I believe Dr. Starline is taking all these newer villains to make a new faction. And in order to truly boost up their powerhouse, which would be Infinite in this notion, why not turn them into Super Infinite? And if you don't want to go the Super Infinite route, you could also take on the notion that the Chaos Emeralds could be utilized as a transportation means. Because we know that the Phantom Ruby has not been destroyed. In fact, showed up in Sonic Mania Plus, traveling across different dimensions and whatnot. So, Dr. Starline Infinite could be using the Chaos Emeralds as a gateway to open up or access these other dimensions to reclaim the Phantom Ruby. Infinite those illusionary reality warping abilities, but it can go so much further than that, because with the Chaos Emeralds, it's not too crazy to say that the energies within them could actually amplify what the Phantom Ruby can truly do, meaning that instead of just being illusionary reality warping, it'd be just straight out manipulating reality in its totality. Like, especially on a grander scale, it could even reach a planet, the stars, the universe itself. Anything is possible, especially if one way or another, the Master Emerald ends up getting brought into all this. Imagine what would happen if the Phantom Rubies drew power from the Master Emerald. That'd be insane. Out the Master Emerald, just the original emeralds on their own would be an insane power boost for the Phantom Ruby. If Infinite does come back, one interaction I would actually really love to see. I need to see him interact with Surge and Kit. I feel like this dynamic is completely new, fresh, and unique, and it comes to their personal dynamics to Dr. Starline. Again, this is something we just never would have seen before, and this interaction could lead to them teaming up and actually like rekindling the relationship with Dr. Starline, or create yet another faction where it's Sonic's group, Eggman's group, Surge and Kit versus Dr. Starline's group. Either or. The potential is crazy here. All in all, to summarize my theory, I believe Dr. Starline is collecting the Chaos Emeralds for multitudes of different reasons. The first one being either to resurrect his body, to transfer his mind into a new body, more than likely modeled after Sonic. Being collecting them to allow Infinite to go super, or 4, a way to travel from dimension to dimension in order to reclaim the Phantom Ruby, and then either through just the Phantom Ruby's own power or merging with the Chaos Emeralds, we're just going to have a new threatening, overpowered force that, again, if we don't have the Chaos Emeralds, how are the heroes going to really bang out with them unless they reclaim them from themselves? Obviously, Dr. Starline's coming back in some way, somehow, so I definitely think that Chaos Emeralds are probably going to be linked to that, like, to some degree at bare minimum. But I really enjoy the idea of the Phantom Ruby getting amplified by the Chaos Emeralds or the Master Emeralds, allowing it to do things that it just couldn't do before. Imagine, like, what would happen if you could, like, actually casually manipulate null space as much as you can, or manipulate reality. Like, that'd be crazy. Starts erasing things from existence, just cast, gone, Knuckles, you're gone, boom, that'd be hard. But hey, that's just my theory. And let me know what your thoughts on it are in the comments below.